Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Oh, actually, I just said good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, the clock's changed, so we don't know what time it is.
Yes, yes. Well, unfortunately, the clock, well, my time schedule hasn't really changed much because I worked out overnight, so it kind of doesn't really change much for me, really. I get that middle, I get in the middle of it, so it's kind of like, oh, I have to rush through work to actually get stuff done, which is kind of crazy. Yes, but welcome in everybody. I'm Jaymie, and Donovan on the other side. Donovan and I started just a little bit late today. Donovan had some baseball stuff going on, so we just started a little bit late. So please forgive us on that. So we usually didn't start at our normal 4:30 time. So and I think I think you mentioned next week too. Time might change, or I think with your work schedule, different time or day or something like that.
Next week might work yet at the regular time.
Uh, Sorry, Chad.
So
Well,
hey,
Chad,
you
if you
could
want to jump up,
jump in.
jump in. Hey, yeah, I'll send you an invite right now, man. If you want to jump in with us, we're going to pretty much talk about it. So if you want
Yeah,
to jump in with us, I'll send you an invite right now.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week's probably going to be okay for me.
Okay.
After that, it starts getting a little hairy. I think the 26th, but we'll talk about that off air.
Yeah. That's for sure. But yes, welcome in everybody. Welcome to Outer Rhythm Spitting Seeds edition. Oh man, what did you actually think about the whole 20-man draft? Well, I'll see if Chad jumps in with us here.
Yeah, yeah, we wait for him to get in, but
We can
yeah,
we can
boy,
we can hit a little news or something real quick.
yeah, yeah, we could start with the news while we're
Yeah,
see if Chad's coming in.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, interesting little week here. Kyle Hendricks started throwing baseballs again. That's good for deeper league guys. Someone to watch. Target if you have an IL spot. He's a good stash. Probably May. They're looking at a May return for Kyle Hendricks to lead the Cubbies. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but you know that's coming from a Brewer fan. So uh,
Right,
Justin Turner took one in the cheek there.
right.
Fastball inside. Looks pretty scary. But sounds like they're pretty optimistic he'll be back for opening day. So that was kind of a big news on
Um,
Monday.
I don't know. I was listening here just a little bit. I think it's I'm not sure if
There he is.
if he's gonna start opening day or not. I wasn't quite sure on that whole part.
Yeah, the stitches came out. I thought I saw stitches just came out, so we'll see. Maybe he'll make it back.
Yeah. If not, I think he'd miss a few days on the opening day. Well,
Yeah.
hey Chad, how's it going, man?
How's it going, guys? I'm going to jump
Yeah.
right into it and say do not touch Kyle Hendricks with a 10-foot pole. He may be back by May, but
uh,
he's going to be on a very low count until at least the All-Star break.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And
I heard was it
even then, what are
Cardinals?
we going to get out of him? Maybe 100
Yeah,
innings?
yeah. I heard some news about the Ordon. I think he said he was not gonna be starting the opening day as well. I think.
He's out for a while, I think.
Yeah, I just heard something about it. I think he was gonna be out for a while, so it's kind of like, oh, next man up for a little while now. But yeah, no, we were just gonna catch some of the news or catch our weekly news here quick, and then talk. While we were waiting for you, Chad. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There are going to be leagues out there that
oh
we're in where we're going to find your Don sitting on the waivers at
oh
some point.
I'm pretty sure there were some guys
And
already.
that's going to be a beautiful day.
There was actually some guys already making moves in that league already, and I'm like, last night I was scrolling through, and I actually had one guy. I was telling Donovan here, the Anthony and Elope. I put him on my watch list, and somebody snagged him up already. I'm like, oh my god, I was kind of not. I wasn't too happy about that, I guess. But I mean, it is what it is, especially when you get in these deep leagues
Yeah.
like
I'm
this.
actually surprised he didn't get drafted.
Volpe,
Yeah.
yeah, he should have been drafted.
Well, there was actually there was another guy who actually is ahead of him. Actually, I believe, which is why he probably because he's on the NA list right now. The Elope is actually on the NA list right now, so I think
Yeah,
he
but
might.
he might be the favorite to win the job.
Yeah.
It's hard to it's hard to read Aaron Boone.
Yeah, I'm
Always
sure.
has been, but
when you got Kiner Falefa back there,
Right.
hey, no IKF slander here. I love that dude.
But
I
yeah.
love my catcher, third base, shortstop, outfield eligible, 300 hitter. You know, he was great
I
a
wish you
few
just
years
pitched
ago.
5 games so you get that over with too.
Right. So Chad, this is what we're gonna recap our kind of talk about our draft of Friday, and then we're pretty much gonna talk about Paul Blackburn, Danny. Not I didn't do one for Danny or Jim Endis, so we'll save him for next Sunday. But Cole, pretty much Fujinami and Cole Irvin. We're gonna talk about those guys a little bit, and then kind of Garrett Mitchell, Brandon
Pause.
Marsh.
Time out. We're talking
Time out.
A's pitchers, right?
No, yep, Ace pitchers.
I got news for you about one of those names you just said.
Cole Irvin's not on the A's, but
Yep, we know he's with the Orioles.
Okay, let's make sure because you don't know baseball. Still learning it.
Hey, I mean, I know. I mean, come on now. I know that Cole Irvin got traded. That was huge news, man. Come on now.
Nah, it wasn't really huge news.
I mean, it was huge for the A's losing some guy like him because it's kind of like he was kind of one of their better off guys offhand. It's kind of like, come on now. Is Paul Blackburn going to come in and do the job? I don't think so. He didn't. Here's the serious part. He didn't even get drafted, and he is their top ace. You're supposed to be his top ace right now. And I was just like, looking at.
He's available in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna rectify that right
now. No, you can't have him. Because I was actually going to draft him myself because I'm like, well, what's going on here? Because he's their starting pitcher, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Because he didn't even get drafted, and his projected AB or projections was 521. So I'm like, why didn't this guy get drafted? He was actually having a good season last year, and then I know he got injured. Well, I mean, with his fingers. So I was kind of surprised that in a way things happen that he didn't get drafted, which is crazy in my eyes. So, but yeah, let's kind of finish up in the quick news here, and then we'll kind of jump into all that good stuff here. So, I know.
So the only other, there's a little bit Thursday had some pretty interesting news, I guess. Outside of Harper swinging off a tee again. Again, he is not coming back for a while yet. But Garrett Mitchell left with a hamstring. I think it was just soreness, tightness. That's a guy that I was kind of in on. I still drafted him last night in my home keeper league. That didn't scare me. So
last I heard he's supposed to be back Monday.
Yeah. So let's hope that it's not too bad.
Just to make sure.
It's definitely not too bad, but
just to make sure I also drafted Sal Frelick. So Harrison Bader's one to watch. He was, moving over to the Yankees to cover center field. He's got an oblique issue.
sad.
He's got an oblique issue, so that who knows? Those things really can drag a guy down.
Yeah.
Hunter Green listed as the opening day starter that we kind of thought. Tatis, well, he got his hits now, so this isn't news anymore, and it never really.
And he's injured now.
Oh, did he get injured today? Super.
God, I swear this, I guess that's something we can talk about too. Is Tatis still? I'm sure he's still draftable, but if he's out for a little while yet, isn't he though? Because it's his suspension yet.
Yeah, he
still had 20 games, I think.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of time. So I just can't pay the price for him anyway. Like we just don't know.
I'm sure there's there's more guys that are a little bit more valuable than drafting Tatis right away. I'm sure. So
in a dynasty or keeper format, I take him, but I'm not going to touch him in a redraft until
most definitely.
That's me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Other notable things from the week, Andrew Painter was a big one. Boy, he was really pushing hard to make the opening day roster as a 19-year-old, and not anymore. So
And now he
Sounds,
won't until he's 22 at least.
he's right. No, like I don't care what the news says. He's dynasty only draft because you're not going to see him up.
Because they're not going to risk it. Even if he doesn't need the surgery, they're not going to rush him now.
No, he will be 100% healed before he pitches again. He's too valuable right now. So
yeah, but he's young. Give him some time to come back from that. And then the other quick news was Jordan Walker left the game.
Chad was tugging on my heartstrings. I got too many shares of him.
Yeah, I was. The funny thing was that when we were drafting on Thursday nights, somebody actually took him in the top 150, and I jumped over and listened. I was listening to Govier's thing too, real quick, while we were drafting, and it was crazy to say that I think somebody even took him even higher than 150, and the NFC.
Yeah, I took him at 124, I believe.
So it looks like he's actually moving up a little bit in the roster. Moving up then a little bit.
I would have been comfortable taking him 2 or 3 rounds earlier. Just the draft broke that I could take him that late.
Yeah, well, was that the one you were doing that 6-pack? Was that one?
Yeah, that's the pros versus Joe's league.
Yeah, I was kind of seeing some of your screenshots and stuff. I was looking at that too. So are you done with that now?
There's a few weird things. No, not even close.
Okay.
And I'm actually back and forth here. If I get distracted, they're on the other side. They're on the other side of the turn. I'm just like, please stop taking my guys. Please stop taking my guys. My outfield. If you follow my posts in the Palazzo Podcast Discord, you'll see that my outfield is in shambles right now because someone kept sniping me.
Yeah, I know. I actually haven't had a chance to take a look at. So I mean, I honestly I got up just like an hour and a half ago or so, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get my ass up and get things ready here and whatnot too. So I was like, oh goodness gracious. But yes, well, thank you, Chad. You're another. Well, what's it? Your third appearance now on the show now. Good God, dude, that's crazy.
Might as well just make me full time at this point.
Right?
Pay is outstanding.
Yeah, I know, right? I'll send you over some more pop. How's that sound? I'll make sure to DoorDash you some Dr. Pepper. So I think that kind of Pepsi today. Okay, so I think that kind of covers most of the MLB news for the week. Yeah, let's kind of dive into kind of what we all thought overall on the 20-man draft we had Thursday. I know we saw some guys went higher than Jordan Walker, top 150. I know we kind of mentioned him a little bit.
There is actually a little more baseball news.
Is there?
Got a couple pieces.
Okay, good. Toss her in there.
Michael Kopech finally made his debut in spring training with 3 perfect frames.
Ooh.
I see that's just popped up.
Ooh, that's crazy.
And I believe there was one other.
He's another guy.
Graham Ashcraft got yanked with a minor calf injury.
Oof.
So that's something to watch. That Reds rotation is somewhat shallow. I'm not sure who the replacement would be. Maybe Brandon Williamson.
Okay,
would be that guy.
That's tough to say.
I don't think Chase Petty's ready.
No, he probably won't be up. No, I would think not.
But that's that's their number 3 starter going down if he's not ready.
Yeah,
so that's not good then.
There's innings to be had there for someone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. But let's kind of jump into
And then the last one was George Valera got optioned to minors camp. It's not too surprising. He had a really bad Dominican League stint and then broke his hamate bone.
Ooh.
But he was originally supposed to be the front runner for that right field in Cleveland going into spring training. So we'll see when or if he even, with how many talented guys they have coming up, if he ever makes it to that right field at this point.
I did. I actually did watch a little bit of that Japan and Australia game this morning. A little bit.
It's on my DVR. I got all of it's on my DVR. I have the entire WBC on my DVR. I have watched 0 innings so far.
I just caught just a little bit at the end, but that was about it.
Chad's in for one long night.
Yeah, it seems like it. But since I think that's about it for some weekly news, anyways.
Now we get to talk about my fuck up.
Right? Well, Donovan had a fuck up too. So
mine. Well, yeah, mine wasn't terrible given the time that it happened, but it still chapped me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I know some of you guys. Well, I know you guys play in some other formats that with deeper rosters, but is it? I know Donovan. This is your first. Is this your first time actually playing like 20-man?
So yeah, a lot of the deeper leagues that I'm in a few 30 team, but they were startup. Like I started with the Rockies, I started with the Brewers, so a little different setup, not a full deep draft. Otherwise, yeah, I think this is the first 20-man I've ever drafted. 15 was prior to this, so it's pretty deep. Thankfully, everybody on my team I know, so that's a plus.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it just puts a little extra thought and strategy in as you're going through, and the field starts thinning out, and you're like, oh shit, I probably should have addressed that earlier. But yeah, it was definitely got the brain cells working. So yeah, it's the deepest redraft I think I've ever. Yeah, it was a 20. So
I know you mentioned like the whole 10 by 10. You kind of
and then 10 by 10.
Yeah, kind of threw you off a little bit. When I first started playing baseball, I didn't play 5x5s or anything. I pretty much jumped in right into the 10 by 10. So I mean I've got for me, I got that 10 by 10 experience, and I mentioned to you last here, not I think it was a few days ago, like the whole, me playing a 5x5, like I played one last year, finished last. I'm like, if I can do a 10 by 10, why can't I do a 5x5? So, but maybe a little different strategy goes into a 5x5 compared to a 10 by 10. So I'm just, I suck with a 5x5, but give me a 10 by 10, it's a breeze to me.
We'll find out. I'll punish you somehow.
Right.
And then Yahoo. I'm not as familiar with Yahoo, but I can't. I'll never put that as an excuse.
I shouldn't, but I mean, I like overall. I like the Yahoo format. It gives clear. You can see everything. Everything's easy to see. So I mean, I like that fact quite a bit, and you can I like the fact that you can see everybody's next day's projections or all that great stuff. So it makes it a lot easier in that aspect.
Yeah, there was a good amount of information there in the draft room. That was cool. I was confused by the X rank and all that stuff, but I don't use it anyway.
Terrible.
So I was
the ranking system's so broken, and it's even worse now. Like I don't think either of you play fantasy hockey.
Oh, I do. I play hockey. Yeah,
not for a long time.
Roto World's gone for hockey.
Oh,
so for the longest time, they didn't even have news. Like the little blurbs, there weren't any to start this season.
That makes it hard.
Yeah, there was one kind of podcast I kind of listened to for just people in general, but I didn't even listen to that this year. So I just been kind of going with, who's been hot, who's been being dropped, and kind of winging that. And I've kind of learned. I kind of went with more goalies this year, which kind of helped me out in the long run to get the higher end goalies, and you're going to be better off in the long run. But yeah, that's just crazy though. I mean, someone kind of explained that X rank is kind of an overall rank. I think it is because somebody I was listening to somebody they were kind of explaining that X rank. So the X rank is kind of an overall a little bit higher, you know, AP or an ATB of that player. I think it is one of those two things, as far as I know. And then they just pretty much got the the overall, just the other ranks in general. But yeah, I think that's just it. But I don't think a lot of people pay attention to that X rank too much. So I mean, to me, I didn't really pay attention to that at all. I just looked at the other rankings to it mostly.
Oh well, let's dive in.
Yeah, man, let's get going. Yeah. I know. Well, I guess Chad, what did you think of it? I guess
it was a draft.
It was just a draft. Well, I'm sure you've been doing too many. I mean, have you played this deep before at all, or?
Yeah, I don't do it often because at 20 it gets a little sketchy. This is might be one of the best years to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
there's so many. There's so many on the bubble prospects that you can have deeper rosters without having deeper rosters.
Agree.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. When I was playing last year, I was, I kind of just jumped in. Somebody's like, "Hey, you want to join?" And I just totally jumped in. I'm like, "Sure." I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I figured I might as well just jump in, and I just kind of I actually tried taking names that I knew kind of offhand. And the bad thing is, I got grief for taking, Bundy. It's just like, I know Gouvier gave me crap about having Bundy on my team, and I'm just like, I didn't know anybody. It's just kind of like. It's like, holy crap, and, he did. I mean, honestly, he didn't do me wrong. He did fairly well for, my pitching crew that I did have, so, I mean, I couldn't complain for not having Bundy on my team, but this year, I tried to, when I did draft this year, I wanted to try to do it a little bit differently, try to actually get some of the name guys that I wanted on my team for this upcoming year. And I got good majority of them, and there was a couple guys that I missed out on. But I mean, in my eyes, I'm happy with what I ended up with. I don't know if I should have taken Fujinami at all, but yeah. So I'll give you a quick rundown of my overall team here. I got Christian Valles from Minnesota. I got first base Brandon Belt, second base Ryan McMahon. Third base, Rafael Devers. I honestly, with that pick, I with him not getting too many steals, I had the opportunity of actually drafting. I was actually debating on Witt or Devers, and I just ended up with Devers. But now I kind of regret that first pick. I should have went with Witt, just because I'm kind of lacking in base steals because India got taken and Mondesi got taken. So yeah, I'm kind of lagging in that, but I know. And so my SS, I got O'Neill Cruz. We have three outfielders. I got Kyle Schwarber, Rich Hanger, and Lars Nootbaar. And then my utility spot, I got Ezekiel Tovar. And then on my bench, I got Lurius Cordell, Louis Renfrago, Brandon Crawford, JP Crawford, which I probably shouldn't even picked, and then I got Dylan Moore. I probably should have went one less bench there, and I should have probably got another pitcher in my eyes, because yeah, pitcher is going to probably be one big thing going down the road here. Then my pitchers, I got Robbie Ray, Tony Gonzalez, Patrick Sandoval, Tyler Anderson, and then the funny crazy thing is about Fujinami, they have him listed as a closer, but he's got. I was looking at ESPN. They actually got him listed as
he's a starter.
I got him listed as an SP. So which is kind of crazy. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. If he's got RP and then he's not an SP, I'm like, that doesn't make no sense.
So that is because, and we'll probably talk more about this when we get to him.
Yeah.
For our A segment. He came in with the expectation he wasn't going to be able to stick in the rotation, that his control was not going to be good enough coming from overseas, and he'd end up as their top reliever. He is so far stuck really well. In fact, I just drafted him in my home league.
Gotcha.
In the first round of our dynasty league.
I hope you like my comps that I dug up for.
We'll find out.
I think you might agree with me. But.
Yep. I'll finish up here real quick. I got Tajon Walker, and I got Johnny Couture, and then I drafted my other reliever is AJ Puck. I think he was with the A's too, if I remember. I think the A's had him. I think they traded him off. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, that's kind of the rundown of my team. Gonsolin, I hope he kind of rebounds. I know they were saying maybe he might not have a good year this year. I'm like, do not say that, because I want him to do well. And I know some of the guys I was kind of happy to get in with. Well, Claus, I was kind of happy to get with. Some guys were like I'd rather have one good closer, just because in that higher rounds, and then I won't have to worry as much when it comes to that. And the other dart throw is kind of Fujinami, so that's kind of my other dart throw on that end. But I'm happy with Sandvold, Anderson. We'll kind of see if Tajon Walker can repeat what he did with the Mets, because I knew he had like 10 some odd wins, so I was pretty happy with that anyways. And I know we'll see what Johnny does this year as well. So, but yeah, I'm fairly happy. The only down pick I didn't like is maybe Crawford, but he's got a few steals up in there too, and Crawford as well. So maybe if one of those guys, bursts out, I can maybe trade him off. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I don't think he'll trade Crawford, but
maybe. Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. But he could be one of your first cuts for someone else.
Yeah, very well possible. Yeah, very well possible. I know. I guess I'm happy with it. I'm glad I kind of got Cruz, because then I kind of got one of those nice little. Hopefully, he can do some good slugging. So that's one guy. I was like, well, let's get this guy because he was kind of tall, and I was kind of so he kind of fell in there. Like, I think I might have taken him a little early. I'm not quite sure with the ADP. So, but other than that, I was pretty well happy getting Cruz at least. So overall, I don't know, pretty well happy with my team.
In a league like this, ADP goes out the window. If you like the guy, you got to take the guy, because 40 picks go by before you get back up. So
which is why I was like, all right, it was getting down there, and that's why I was like, all right, I gotta get Tyler Anderson. And one other guy was like, you took him, and there were some other guys that I seen that I wanted were getting taken too. So I'm like, all right, I gotta start taking some of the guys. I know you took my my catcher too, which I was a little disappointed at. I'm like, God dang it!
Oh, I like my catchers.
Well, hey, I'll give you Christian Valles, and then I'll trade you him. And you can we can trade. I want MJ.
Nah, we'll talk about it. He's in my outfield spot, so. Yeah, I could run through my team then, since I'm yapping anyway. So my catcher is going to be Logan O'Hoppe. I took him pretty late. Rowdy Tellez at first base. Now, second base is a problem area, and I let it go way too far. So right now it's Chris Taylor.
Well, actually, he's with somebody getting injured. He's
he should have playing time.
Yeah, he should.
But he's not a prized possession at second base. Bobby Witt is who I ended up, because Jaymie decided to go the other way.
I know, right? God.
Well, I appreciate that. Tim Anderson at shortstop, which was my what the hell's going on moment. For whatever reason, it said I had 3 or 4 picks to go. I forget. And then the next thing I know, I had 9 seconds. So if I was having connection issues or what, it was over. I have MJ Melendez, who was my original first catcher, filling in an outfield spot. I'll rotate him and O'Hoppe in and out. Cedric Mullins, Esteury Ruiz. So I pretty much have stolen bases licked up there. And then the reason that I was so mad that I got Tim Anderson was because I had also taken Austin Riley. So I started my draft with Witt, and then in the second round I took Austin Riley. So when it auto drafted, Anderson, I had just now I have a log jam because Witt was going to play shortstop and Riley was going to play third, but now I have to play Anderson at shortstop. So it'll work out. It's not a terrible problem to have, I guess, as long as Anderson can stay healthy.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I know I tried to stay away from any any guy or any Sox guys if all possible. But I think Lewis was kind of like the main, only maybe the main guy you can maybe rely on a little bit because Tim Anderson wasn't that he was
Yeah.
injured way too much.
Yep. Sitting on my bench, I have Will Benson, so hoping he gets some playing time in Cincinnati. Luis Garcia is my bench pine rider at second base and short. So pitching, I ended up with Max Fried, Logan Webb, Nick Lodolo, and then Kenta Maeda. And then this is where I didn't know what to do with the saves and the holds. I play in a lot of saves hold leagues, which that combine them. So but when you space them out, I didn't know how many of which I needed to have. So
Yeah,
my virgin maiden voyage here, I'm not sure if I did this correct, but I went with Scott Barlow and then John Schreiber from the Red Sox, and then Taylor Rogers, not Tyler. Taylor Rogers from the Giants, Kendall Graveman. So I'm hoping that he gets me a little bit of saves in the beginning, especially to see if Hendricks comes back.
Yeah, you got four. You got four relievers. Holy crap!
Yeah, I'm crazy like that.
I just saw that too.
Kyle Gibson, Nick Pivetta, and I have the forever injured Kyle Hendricks, who will go on my IL and see what happens there. And then Anthony Desclafani, hoping he fights his way back into the Giants. That was, I think, my last pick. Those are my last two picks, so I feel okay about those.
Yeah, it looks like they're not rostered at all, so it's not too overall. I think Kyle Gibson. I was listening to some guys that are in deeper leagues. Kyle Gibson was kind of one of them to possibly look at, and you should be all right. A fairly decent guy to have in your roster overall. But yeah, I kind of looked at myself a little bit too with some of the holds and stuff, and I don't think I'll have any holds at all. So I'm like,
There'll be guys that pop up.
oh yeah. I'll probably be trying to keep my eyes on that a little bit too, because there'll be some guys that will more likely pop up, and
yeah.
And
I played it safe, so
yeah.
Man, I'm gonna hate myself for this.
you wanted to come on and talk, so
yeah, right.
And now I'm gonna give advice to someone who could beat me.
This is how we.
What I would do if I were you is when Kyle Hendricks is put into your IL, I would pick up one more reliever.
Yeah. It's something I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know which way I'm going to go. It depends what's out there, I think.
Because it would also hedge if you get like a setup man that's like a low ERA setup man.
Yeah.
And there's tons of them that just sit on waivers all year.
Well, you're right.
It'll also hedge guys like Pivetta and DeSclafani and Lodolo and Maeda who could have brutal ERAs.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, that was one thing that taking all those relievers up there, I kind of lacked on the back.
And Kyle Gibson, if he somehow has a 5 ERA again, but I don't think we think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna I end up taking too many too many batters, and I'm more likely gonna be dropping some guys because I'm kind of lagging myself in the pitching category, and I wasn't my plan was to try to get a few more pitchers so I wouldn't try to be scrambling for people off the waiver wire and hurt myself in the long run. But in that terms, I wasn't really thinking properly too much because I was just way too excited to be drafted, and then I was just like, so I didn't I was trying to kind of look ahead too a little bit when I was actually drafting and whatnot too, and some of the guys I want to end up going off the board, and with the lack of not knowing too many rosters, that kind of ends up happening a little bit. So And these are things where I'm going to be working on getting better too and whatnot. That's kind of had that. It's my second time doing this now, so gives myself a little bit more experience, a little bit to know what to try to look for and then not to look for, and try not to be stupid with a lot of my picks too as well.
Yeah.
And that was my main thing too, because I didn't want to try to I wanted people that had some least value, and I know I kind of messed up and come with some of the guys that I kind of wanted to get, like India and Mondesi, were some of the guys. Melendez was another guy, so I mean I should have drafted him when I beforehand, but I was more worried about wanting Sandoval and Anderson on my team, that I kind of missed out on some of those guys as well.
Yeah. Well, let's hear Chad's team.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, boys. Just some changes were being made in a couple of the drafts I'm in.
Oh, well, we'll keep talking then.
Right?
All right, no. We're good. I just had to find out why we changed so one of the leagues I'm in, it's like 60 picks before my first pick, which is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
But they also made 8-hour timers for it.
Hey, that's
Jesus.
forever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
it literally could be forever.
We'll change it for next year. And I'm like, well, I probably won't be in this league next year. I didn't actually tell them that, but
yeah.
And then randomly I look over in Fantrax, and it's like, your league settings have been changed. Timer is now this. So I had to see why they changed their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Before I touch on my team, we're going to have a game show on one of these weeks where me and Curly over here, Donovan, just have flashcards. One has the name of a player, and one has the pronunciation of the player.
Okay.
And if Jaymie gets even half of them right, we buy him a case of beer.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, there we go. That's something we could do. That's for sure.
Because holy crap, some of these pronunciations, Jaymie.
Yes, I know. I should probably take my time a little bit on that. People always give me crap for my my English. I say, you know what? Fuck that. I don't really care. If you don't like my English, get the hell out of here.
Jaymie, you'll.
It's not even just the English. It's just.
Yeah, there is some name slaughtering there, but you'll catch up.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, if you think about it, there's a lot of like a lot of these names are a little bit foreign, so it's like, oh shit, it's like, how do you say some of these names? And I know I kind of batter some of these names just a little bit. Not my intentions to do that, but yeah, I'm kind of sorry with some of those names out there, fellas.
I'm gonna give you
more.
One
you gotta
season.
Actually hear. You just gotta hear their name a couple times. You'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you one season, and then after that, you have to write handwritten apologies to their mothers.
Oh, ouch! That's horrible. How dare you do that to me?
You'll catch on really quick.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
A little bit of. We're gonna jump ahead for a second here. A little bit more A's news. One of the starters that are competing with Fujinami for a spot, James Caprillion, made his debut, and it looked really, really good from what I'm seeing from my scout friend.
Ooh, I mean that's a positive too. I've had
a lot of injury issues over the years.
He has. I know I've had him on and off last year, especially in points leagues for sure too. And I believe his ERA was like in the 4s, so it's kind of like most of these ace pitchers are kind of right there. And no, I think kids might be just a little bit under 4 if I remember correctly. I know some of the other guys were at 4.
All right, so is it time for my winning roster to be announced?
Yes, let's do it. I want to hear this bad boy.
At catcher, I have Gabriel Moreno, who I got way too late for the level of talent. I don't care if Carson Kelly eats into some of his playing time. It doesn't matter.
They'll take him over by the end of the year, yeah.
At first base, I have Ryan Mountcastle, who's a perennial top 10 at the position. At second base, it's one of the scariest situations I have with Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Well, he should have some outfield. I think they should change that. He should have some outfield
Yeah, well,
eligibility too.
I need the second base eligibility. He's my second baseman for.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a lot of Byron Buxton in his profile, and now they're putting him in the outfield. It's just Byron Buxton
all gas and no brakes. All gas and no brakes.
I'm just getting flashbacks.
As long as he stays healthy, that's all that matters, right?
At third base, one of the steals of the draft, I got my number 1 overall third baseman, Alec Bohm.
And he's not bad for Phillies. I know I've had some shares of him. I think I had
a great year last year, hitting almost 300 with almost 400 slugging.
Yeah.
Only 72 RBIs and only 79 runs, and that offense got better.
Yeah.
Late in the year. It gelled, and they've improved it in the offseason.
Well, yeah, they got Brandon Marsh, too.
Exactly. At shortstop, you can wait. We can talk about Brandon Marsh in a second here. We'll get to him. Don't worry. C.J. Abrams. It is what it's. What was left is it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gambling. He's got the playing time. I don't think he'll be any good. But at this point, I just need a body for that position.
Yeah. So let's just hope that he does.
And even if he's not good, he'll have stolen bases. So.
Yeah, projection about 7 or so roughly. So he'll get you a little bit anyways. But I think he'll probably be more than that because I know he got traded from the Padres to
Well, projection is 12. The 7's last season's total.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what Yahoo is really undervalued, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinions, how much of an increase stolen bases are going to see across the board with the shift change.
And I think that's going to be...
So he could be a 15 to 20. If he plays 400 to 500 at bats, he could be a 20 stolen base guy. Even if he's a 15 stolen base guy, he's fine. Ha-Sung Kim is just fine. Profar's just fine. That profile can work.
Yeah.
It's just a warm body on your roster. In the outfield, I have, in my opinion, the number 1 overall player, and I was very happy to land him where I did, Julio Rodriguez.
Well, yeah, you had the second pick overall. Lucky you.
I had the 4th.
3rd.
Yeah, you're up there pretty high. I think you had your first. I know you had the second or third one. Yeah, I know you're up there pretty high.
And the best part is the first 2 people who weren't even in contention for my pick, even if I had the number 1 overall pick. It was always going to be J-Rod. If there was any other site, I probably would have taken Shohei.
Yeah. Right. But the split, yeah.
It's not even the split. It's because of his pitching, the injury risk is too much higher than J-Rod's.
Yeah,
for basically the same player.
Yeah, and let's hope that Ohtani does not get injured.
Oh, he's gonna get injured. That's a foregone conclusion with Ohtani. Not to scare people. He's gonna get hurt.
He's a pitcher and he steals bases.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a calf strain here or there. He's gonna have some hamstring tightness.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. And as I was just saying,
he might hurt his finger at some point. Yeah. Nothing major, God willing, but he's gonna miss, 5 games, 10 games.
Yeah, he
plays so damn hard.
Yeah, and I'll.
It's not a bad thing. There aren't a ton of players that are, 162 game players anyway, so it's not like a big deal.
Yeah, most definitely.
As my second outfielder, I have Seiya Suzuki, who can also be a potential stolen base outlet if he ever gets healthy.
Yeah.
At my third outfield spot, I have Brandon Marsh, who I think is significantly better than Seiya Suzuki for half the price.
Yeah, I was looking at him. I was going to draft him, and then he got taken. I'm like, God dang it!
His LA performance before the trade nuked his value so hard, and it hasn't rebounded. People don't realize how solid he was in Philly at the end of the year.
He
and in
put
the
it
playoffs.
Together end of last year,
Yeah.
At utility, probably going to be starting second baseman most of the year. And eventually, my third baseman when Alec Boehm isn't playing is Gene Segura. And Gene Segura is my favorite value pick in every single draft this year.
Okay, I'll make sure to take him in our next draft we do then.
You probably won't get to. I'm taking him way ahead of his ADP for the simple reason. No, that's Donovan. Name me 3 third basemen who can steal 20 bases.
3 third basemen who could steal you. Well, the easy one's J-Ram.
Witt.
I can only think of
Witt.
Witt's probably close to that.
I guess Witt.
You got it all depends.
So 2 first rounders. The only other one I could think of, if he still counts as a third baseman, is John Birdie.
Yeah, and honestly, I think he's actually
Gene Segura is going to get you 20 stolen bases with the new rules. And he's playing third base every day for the Marlins, so he's gaining that third base eligibility.
That's a solid little cheat code at the end there.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Birthday too, like really late, and he ended up going. I think
he's
he went
just not going to start. I love him. He's just not going to start.
Yeah,
he's too old.
I was actually going to try to draft him because he had a little bit of that base steal upside and whatnot, and then somebody else took it, and I'm like, God damn it, because he was the last guy that was possibly could have given me some base steals, and I'm like, ah. So yeah, I was not happy. So that's why I was kind of frustrated with some of my picks my choosing of picks, which, it's kind of my own fault. But I mean, overall, you win some, you lose some. That's what happens.
Then on my bench, we have a lot of youth and then a resource player. I have Josh Young of the Texas Rangers, third baseman, to give me some power on my bench in case I need it. I have Jared Kelenic in case he ends up being a top 25 player, because that's his potential. And I need outfield depth with Seiya going to the IL. Then I have Miles Straw, who's there for his stolen bases.
Yep, I think he had. I'm trying to see how many.
In a new home now in Cleveland.
Yeah, he had about 21 base steals last year, and I had him off and on a little bit. Miles Straw was kind of hot, and then he was kind of cold, kind of hot and kind of cold.
Yeah, if he gets playing time though, he's got 40 stolen base potential. So,
and with Valera hurt and sent down, it seemed very likely he will get that.
Yeah.
Then we have Brett Baty.
Batty, or is it Beatty?
It's Beatty, but
the
way the Mets handled third base makes you go Batty.
Yeah.
He was actually on my. He was kind of on my radar list, and then when you took him, I was a little disappointed. I'm like,
he's just the high at that point of the draft. I'm just looking for guys who this guy has a day off. Slide him into my utility, and he's not going to hurt me.
Yeah. And I was looking at Beatty too,
or it could be a trade piece down the road.
Yeah,
then I actually have someone who was just added to my roster today. I dropped Bo Naylor because I don't know when he's actually going to get called up now. I thought he was going to make it out of camp.
Yeah.
I was really surprised they got rid of him while he's playing in the WBC and not after he came back. It was a weird timing on that, but I picked up Francisco Mejia, who is a personal man crush of mine.
Nice.
I don't know if Donovan followed the minors back then, But when Mejia first popped on everyone's radar, it was off the back of a 50-game hitting streak in AA and into AAA. He lost the streak, and then he started a 41-game hitting streak to finish the season.
Gotcha.
And then I believe he was in San Diego at the time. I can't remember. He's been traded twice now. I can't remember which one was starting. But everywhere he's gone has just absolutely mishandled him. No, he was in Cleveland.
Yep, he was with
Cleveland. He was with
Cleveland,
and they traded him They traded him in the big deal with San Diego.
Yep. Now then he was with Tampa
San Diego
Bay.
had 5 catchers active, and so he never got playing time. And then he ended up in Tampa, where he's showing life, but they keep adding catchers to screw with him being the everyday guy. But he's potential to be a 300 hitter at catcher. So again, talking about like with Segura at third base, I look for players like that who can be cheat codes and give me something that I'm not getting. I don't need, Salvador Perez's 20 home runs a catcher. I'm getting that from every other position anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone else is trying to get – if everyone else is doing that, the way to beat them is to get something they're not getting.
Yeah.
And that's why Adley Rutschman will be forever the number 1 catcher for me. And then your choice, Logan O'Hopp's actually my number 2 catcher. Because I think he can be the perfect version of Francisco Mejia.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then for pitching, I have my SP number 1, Brandon Woodruff.
Woody.
I have my SP number, doing some math, probably 7. I haven't done my lists recently, but he'd probably be around 7, Zach Gallen. To get both of those in this deep of a draft is really nice.
Yeah.
Because with the way the turns are,
yeah,
depending on where I take Woodruff, I might have 40 picks between.
Yeah, and that's
Woodruff
the thing.
And the next one.
And that was the thing about doing, a big 20-man draft. You have so many picks in between. You're like, well, hopefully this guy falls, or he's like, okay, well, do I go, bat? Do I go batter or do I go pitcher here? It's, and it's kind of one of those things too. I mean, I kind of tried, some of the mocks I tried doing. I tried changing it up a little bit to kind of see where some guys could land, if I could maybe get them there, or I just try. I tried different, mocking in different, positions, first, second, I didn't do last place, unfortunately, but I did mock for a 12th place position, which I was fairly happy with getting because, I did, that's what I ended up doing. And I think I came out pretty all right.
You did okay.
I mean, I like a little pitching, but.
Next up in my monsters row of pitchers is thinking back, I mentioned this in Discord, but I think I misremembered it. I believe Logan Gilbert was the one I got auto picked on. I'm not mad. Sure. I have Logan Gilbert.
Yeah,
but Jordan Walker went that round, and I believe that's who I was planning to take. I could be wrong.
I can.
No, he definitely went that round. I know that. I'm trying to remember the sequence because I was doing 3 other drafts, so I don't know why I was mad. I just know I was mad. Because so what happened was I heard the "you're on deck" noise, and whoever was picking in whichever direction we were going at the time must have insta-picked. So the "you're on deck" and "it's your turn" noises overlapped with each other, and I just never heard it. So I'm hearing the countdown and thinking it's for the guy before me.
Yeah, and it was you.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened to me. Yeah, you took him in the 7th round, and Jordan Walker
went at the end of the round of that, right?
Jordan Walker went at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look up too to see where. Yeah, because you took.
You were 123, and Walker went 133.
Well, I can't say for certain that's what it was. It was either him or Say. I just don't remember which one I was pissed about.
Yep.
But you
And I
can
was just
tell
saying,
by the fact that I can say that without knowing which one it is, that neither was a big deal in the end because of the quality of player I got.
yeah, that round, that's the round that you took MJ from me. God dang it. I was hoping you would have lasted that next round because that's where I was going to go in round 8 is that way. And yeah, so I ended up taking Newt Bar. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the Twins pitcher works out for me.
Then I have one of mine and Govier and really everyone's favorite pitching targets of the year, Jesus Luzardo of the Marlins. Just electric stuff. Could
Jesus
really
Lizard.
be if he puts it all together, he's, every bit the pitcher that Sandy Alcantara is as a prospect. And at that point, with Woodruff and to a lesser extent Gilbert, although Woodruff's strikeouts really jumped last year, those guys
Yeah.
are innings eaters, and I want someone that just threw fire.
Yeah, and this is a 30 minimum inning league too. So you want to get your make
Oh,
sure
that'll
you
never. As long as my pitchers don't die, that'll never be an issue. I just want
yeah, well,
balance.
yeah, yeah. And I
I,
was just saying that too. I mean, we got
yeah.
and that's what I was looking at too because you got that 30 minimum innings pitch. So I was like, I want to make sure I get guys that will meet that minimum without And I know I was mentioning this to Donovan that I was in a league where, in one of my leagues, if you don't meet that minimum, you lose out
You
of.
lose all the categories. Yes, that's
Yep,
how it works.
yep, yep. So when I was looking about, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough pitching for that to make sure that's covered as well, because especially in these deep leagues, you don't want to be losing any categories if you can help it.
Absolutely. Though there are people that'll just completely punt that
Yeah,
in the draft and then overdraft hitters and then force trades for
pitch. Yep, yep,
force trades and backfill. Yep.
yep. I might be trying to make some trades. I never really made trades at all last year, so maybe this year might be a different year for me. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Next up, we have hot take alert. The first hot take from me on a baseball podcast with you. I'm known for him with our football podcast with Eli. But I have my closing pitcher number 1 overall, and it's not Edwin Diaz. It is Ryan Helsley. I just think Edwin probably ends up being number 1, and I'm wrong. But Helsley's the safer of the two.
Yeah, there's
He's
no
in a
argument.
great spot. He's in a great spot.
Yeah,
he
perfect team.
And Edwin just has a history of not being as good the following year. So,
oh goodness gracious! I didn't even know I had my microphone not plugged in.
it was great.
Right?
Say all that with.
Well, at least my camera with microphone was able to catch some of that stuff. But I was like, wait a minute, how come my microphone isn't all plugged in here? And I'm like, oh crap.
Govier-itis.
Right?
Oh,
Epic
yeah.
fail right there.
I'm like, what is he talking about? Music? He's supposed to don't have music. And he plugs in, all of a sudden there's just this jam playing. I'm like, what in the world? How do you screw that up? Next up, I have Paul Sewald. Could be a closer, could be a setup man. Probably is going to be both.
Best of both worlds.
Yep. If you can get best of both worlds, then you're better off that way, man. That's for sure.
After that, we dip our toes back into the Miami Marlins bounce back pitcher pool for Trevor Rogers. And I kid you not, in my home league 2 years ago, I would have given Shohei Ohtani to get him. I wanted him so bad.
I had him too, and I wouldn't have given him up for the world. And,
even last year, I couldn't get him because the guy loved him that much the year before.
No, last year he shit the bed on me.
Yeah, that happens.
After that, I have another could be. People will disagree with me, but I think Ryan Presley's a bum. So I have Brian Abreu, who's definitely a setup man, but also could factor into saves.
Yep.
And even if Presley's not a bum, he has a pretty lengthy injury history. So there's that.
He's China doll, paper doll.
And then we have, and I kind of wish I could have weighed on it, but since we were talking about it, I probably couldn't have because someone was going to hear it and go grab him. I dropped Mike Soroka, who was going to be flying into my IL, and picked up Paul Blackburn.
I am not happy with you right now. How dare you? See,
I might not even keep him around. It's just he's infinitely safer. No, he's infinitely safer than Soroka. I don't even like Soroka.
Yeah. You know,
I don't think he plays. I've said the longest time that I don't think he plays again in the majors. He might just barely prove me wrong, but I think he's an injury waiting to happen.
Yeah.
You know, since we're
I took him because he's an injury waiting to happen. He's a free roster spot.
Yeah, most definitely. And so this is the thing that I don't get. You know, if Blackburn's their number one guy, why is somebody like him not? You know, especially in our deeper league like this, why wouldn't he be drafted? You know, because I was trying to figure out. I'm like, you know, I was looking at Blackburn a little bit. You know, I honestly I probably should have drafted him at the end there, and I was. You know, my concern was how come he wasn't actually up higher in the ADP, and I'm like, there's had to be something going on that he wasn't not being drafted at all. So that's what really got me curious because I was even talking to Donovan about this. I'm like, is there something wrong with Paul Blackburn? Because I mean, if you look at it, I was looking at like I updated all of his projections and everything, and he's not playing that many games, which is weird. You would think his games would be higher.
There's three big reasons. Reason one is he doesn't have a lengthy history of being good. Not 2.5 years ago, he was the guy who you'd look at and like, oh man, he's facing the Guardians or he's facing he's facing the Orioles. I'm going to stream him. And he'd cost you your week because he give up 8 earned runs.
Yeah.
I believe I streamed him against the Astros, which was dumb. But they like Kyle Tucker was out, Jordan was out, and Yuli was out at the time, I believe. So it was like the best possible scenario. He gave up 8 earned runs in 2 innings. This guy was the ultimate bum before last year.
Yeah.
Made the All-Star game last year, somewhat by default.
I mean, he was looking good before he ended up injuring his finger. I mean, not like he was having a down season.
Hey, he was an all-star last year.
Yeah, come on now.
Reason number 2, that win-loss total you see there is going to be worse this year.
Yeah. Let's hope not. But I mean, it's crazy to think about.
If the Athletics win 25 games, I'll be shocked. They're that bad.
Let's hope that Fujinami is better than Blackburn then.
He probably is.
But I don't know.
He is, but he isn't. Blackburn at least is a safe option. Well, safe if he's not that give up 8 earned runs guy anymore. If he found something, maybe it just took him another year to develop. That happens with plenty of players over the years.
Yeah, most definitely.
Fujinami's control he's probably terrible for fantasy.
I drafted him. We'll see what happens. I figure I'd take that risk and see what happens.
But the upside is phenomenal there.
Yeah, and that's the thing because I mean I'm kind of a fan of Blackburn, and that's why I was kind of like I was confused on what is like why a guy like him, if he's their number one pitcher, why wouldn't you think you want unless James Camperlian is better than Blackburn?
He might be as well. I mean, that is a former mega prospect in Caprillion.
Yeah, and that's kind of going to be Donovan's and I's next show is kind of diving into some of these guys, especially we'll be talking about some of these pitchers next week, and
Blackburn's
these are
definitely their
just
ace, but when you don't win 10 games and without Christian Pachi in their outfield, they have no defense. So he's going to go,
Yeah.
6 wins, 13 losses, and an ERA of like 4.40.
yeah,
He'll have a ton of quality starts. He'll lose a bunch of games, 2-3 or 3-0.
Yeah, that's something I don't want happening.
He
But
in a 20-team league, there's no excuse for him not being drafted.
and that's
In a 12-team league, it gets a little sketchier for redraft.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't honestly. I probably wouldn't touch him in a 12-man, but 20-man. That's why I was kind of blown away. It's like, why isn't this
Even at 12-man, he's one of those guys that should be owned, but
Just
there's so many. Not even that. It's just because he's a safe, solid guy. It's just there's going to be so many flashier options available.
Oh, I mean, I in a 12-man, I'd totally pass him up. I mean, there'd be more. I mean, I would take I'd take Sandvald, I would take Anderson over him in a heartbeat. I mean, those are guys I'd be drafting over them. And
You're talking about Tyler Anderson?
Yes.
I would too. Blackburn's probably safer than him, though. I wouldn't take Sandoval over him. I've done that, but that's because I did the Sandoval experience last year.
I did too.
He did the same thing he did the year before, where he's terrible until August, and then he has 5.5 good weeks. It makes you want to draft him again the following year. Oh man, the breakout's coming, boys! He was good for 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean,
it really is. He might just be a really good warm weather pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, I drafted him last year, and he's just a favorite of mine. And if he dips down a little bit, I know that he's going to be rebounding sometime. I mean, if you think about it, beginning of the season is going to be a little rough, but once everybody kind of gets in tune a little bit, things kind of play out a little bit more. You kind of you kind of know what's kind of happening.
Not to beat up on Jaymie more, but like just going into this 20 team, I'd want Blackburn over Kenta Maeda.
I'd rather have Maeda.
Maeda, if he can get back to peak form, is better. But there are so many question marks on what he needs to do to get back to that form between his health, the team. I still think the team around him sucks.
Yeah, Sonny Gray, what the heck is the other guy? I think he got injured here too. He came from the Padres. I can't think of his name now offhand.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was kind of injured last year a little bit. He played a little bit, then he got injured.
Oh crap! Why am I drawing a blank on that? Because that's a big name too.
Yeah, he the Twins traded for him too, and I kind of was
Chris Paddock.
Yep.
Okay, that's because he hasn't pitched. Nobody remembers.
Did he even pitch at all? Did he even pitch at all this?
I believe he got hurt as soon as. No, he's not pitching anytime soon. Pretty sure he's out till next year.
He's out for a while.
All right. But yeah, I mean, I would probably take if Maeda if he can reform what he did in 2020.
Yeah, he had the surgery. He had the Tommy John in May.
Yeah. So that's right. He had injured Tommy John. That's right. No. Yeah, it's been a while since we.
If they're in the playoffs, we might see him in relief to end the year. Yeah, but he'll probably come into camp next year.
Yeah. That's if the Twins can hold it all together and not
the Twins suck. The Twins don't even have that good of a roster.
They're overrated. There's a lot of hype for the Twins that it's ill-advised hype in my opinion as well.
Yeah, you take Buxton out of that lineup for 90 games, and you're left with Correa, who's couldn't keep a team in the offseason. Jorge Polanco's past his shelf life.
Yeah.
Max Kepler's just a guy. Jose Miranda might turn out to be good. They're starting Joey Gallo in 2023.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Alex Kirilloff has one working hand.
Yeah, I've had shares of him, and I'm just like, I am like, yep, I'm done. I tossed him off my
Vasquez
roster.
is a good catcher. I for real life, I think Vasquez is actually probably a really good catcher to have. So I'm not going to knock that.
Yeah,
Nick Gordon, who's
He's
been a
hurt.
prospect.
yeah.
We were kids when he first became a prospect, right, Donovan?
Jesus.
Ah,
Uh,
he was on Nickelodeon, I think. Yeah.
Oh, good gravy. But I was hoping because I know one of their other catchers I was looking at one of their other catchers, and I think he might have been injured, which is why I ended up taking Vac Christian. Sorry, but I was kind of like, I was like, well, hopefully he starts, but looks like he's got a little bit of first base eligibility as well. So
Their pitching, I will give them credit. With Maeda not being at the front end of their rotation, their pitching top to bottom is very interesting.
I think it's gotten a little better. Yeah, I like the fact
they
that
trade for Pablo Lopez, they
Yeah.
didn't give up much to get him.
That was a good move.
Sonny Gray's still just fine. Joe Ryan's great as a number 3. Male should be great as a number 4. Maeda as a 5 is brilliant, even if he doesn't stay healthy. And they have quietly one of the better bullpens. They have guys that would be setup men for other not good teams.
Yeah.
Pitching at the front of their bullpen. And then the future number 1 closer of all time, Joe Duran, setting up.
Time. Oh, of all time. Yeah, no, Johan Duran's
it's Chapman on steroids. Like, it's not even an exaggeration. The dude comes into spring training throwing 104.
Yeah, he's
doesn't get built up to 104. He comes in throwing 104.
Yeah. I tried getting
and Jorge Lopez isn't bad. He's not Duran though.
Yeah.
Right.
But Lopez is a safe closer. And I love Griffin Jacks. I actually love him in fantasy even.
Yeah, I was just going to mention him too.
One of those inning eaters.
Yeah, I was just going to mention.
And when you need to lower your ERA, you grab someone like him.
Yeah, and I know Griffin was kind of. I think he's out there too because I think I put him in my.
Oh yeah, he'll always be. He's a waiver guy.
Yeah.
But he's a former. I wouldn't say a top prospect, but he was in the upper half of the Twins farm system for a while. And he still could end up being a starter for that, especially if Maeda gets hurt.
Yeah. Well, they don't have Bundy anymore. I don't think so. That's probably a good thing.
They didn't have Bundy when they had him.
Hey, I had him on my 20-man last year, and I was telling Donovan that I had him last year, and I got Govia gave me crap for having Bundy on my 20-man roster, and I'm like, well, this year I'm gonna make sure I'm not gonna have a Bundy on my team this year. So
here's a lesson: if they originally came from Baltimore, they are gonna drive you nuts to own. I went through it for 8 years. I think it's been 8 years with Kevin Gausman. I don't care how good of a year he had last year. I don't care if he goes out and breaks every record, wins 30 games, has 400 strikeouts. I'm never touching him again because of so many years of never putting it together. And that's Baltimore guys just every time you see him. I mean, Jake Arrieta was the same way. It took him forever to put it together, and then it was gone.
Yeah.
Bundy was the same way, though. Bundy's was health, always has been.
Yeah,
we saw that with Harvey. When Harvey put it together, he was great.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Baltimore's new thing. DL Hall always injured.
Yeah, the good thing was Bundy wasn't really injured last year, which was good. I mean, he helped me out in the long run. He got me some wins. He had some.
He was injured.
Some strikeouts.
He may not have been on the IL. He was injured.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, an older pitcher like that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what
his
I was
arm's
doing.
Gone. His arm's gone.
Yeah, he's shot.
Yeah. So I just enjoy. That's the lesson I learned is make sure I get some good, decent pitchers because I don't want a guy like Bundy on my team. So
you can't do much streaming in a 20-man.
No,
Everybody's gonna get the next thing that comes up, and
it is
like a 12-man. You'll get lucky here and there, going in and out. You'll find a couple pitches that might stick, but in the 20-man, everybody's gonna be going for the same guys.
Yeah,
if they're worth their weight.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. That's why I was like, all right, I gotta get some guys that I know are gonna. I wanted a good pitching crew this year, and I think I kind of dipped off there a little bit, and ended up taking. I was kind of a little mad myself because I ended up taking too many batters, and I'm just like. But then it's like hopefully maybe one of these guys pops, and maybe somebody will trade me a guy for a pitcher or something like that. So I don't know, never know. We'll just we'll have to kind of see how once the season starts and whatnot.
Let's talk about Fuji next.
Yeah, let's get going with that
before you got to cut out. You got to go to work soon.
Yes, 7:30, and I gotta at least get some food in my belly by 7:00. So
we'll work on Fuji quick. I know, and I think I did a little research on pitchers who have come over from foreign leagues, and I pulled some numbers for like your Yu Darvish and your Masahiro Tanakas, and looked at their ERAs, their K per nines, their hit per nines, and kind of compared to how they pitched when they were across seas and what happened when they came over. I looked at their careers between the two, and like for Yu Darvish, when he was pitching over in Japan, he was about a 2 ERA, and when he came over, the remainder of his career now, and still to this day, he's at about a 3.5. And so I kind of looked at all these different pitchers, and I landed on what I think Fujiyami's career trajectory is going to end up being is possibly like Hideo Nomo. And unfortunately, he ended up on the A's, and it might not be nearly as nice as Hideo Nomo's, but they both come over with very similar statistic wise and per nine wise, coming over from those foreign leagues to the major leagues. As far as ERA, Hideo's K per nine was a little higher, and his walks were a little higher, but looks like Hideo's hit per nine was a little lower when he came over compared to Fuji. So I think as far as whip would go, they'd average out. One thing I did notice, and it's a product of American baseball to Japanese baseball, is home runs per nine. When they were across seas, they were at about a half of a home run per nine. When they came over, each one of them in their careers gave up over, not much, 1.1, 1.4 home runs per nine. So I think, and that's just a product of American baseball, I think, having just everybody on the team can hit a home run.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I laid everything out and using the projections that are coming over from all the projection systems for Fujiyami, I think, and I'm wondering if, I don't know, I'm sure you didn't put much thought into this, Chad, but Hideo Nomo is kind of where I'm going to.
I've been shaking my head a little bit. I don't know if you saw it. I get where you're going with it. First of all, I want to touch on the Yu Darvish thing real quick. There is a big asterisk with his ERA because for the longest time he had the free first inning syndrome when he was in Texas. Sure. I know Jaymie won't know about that, but I'm sure Donovan remembers that, where he would give up 6 earned runs in the first inning and then throw a no-hitter the rest of the game.
Right, yeah, and then he calmed down and pitched 6. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And then he just became elite after a couple of years. He finally shook that. Like the year before he got traded, or Yeah, the year before he was traded to the Cubs, right? He didn't sign in
Yeah.
free agency.
No, he went to the
That's when it finally went away, and he was. So his ERA would be much lower without that freak thing. The name I would land on, and which is a lot of the reason why he was slated to be a closer, not a starter, was Kaz Sasaki, formerly of the Mariners, of the very famous Mariners before last year, the 2001 Mariners.
Yeah.
Who was their closer and threw gas and was perfect for that role. And Fujinami still could end up being that.
Yeah.
Because his control isn't great.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I was just kind of, it's, on Yahoo they have
to give a major league comp. Hunter Green is a very good major league comp.
There we go. I mean, Hunter Green is. I mean, he can toss the ball pretty damn good. He can. He's. Shit, I think he's tossed the ball 100 miles an hour.
Reverse Chapman's another one. Although Fujinami isn't quite Chapman, it's the same kind of thing where he's right on that razor's edge of starting.
Yeah,
I think any other team he wouldn't be starting. They wouldn't even have given him a chance.
Well, I'm sure because every team's pretty well loaded, and A's kind of suck, and they need pitchers, and they got rid of
that. It's just his stuff plays up so well in relief.
Yeah. And they gave they
why risk ruining
traded
him?
Yep. They traded away quite a few of their pieces. Sean Mannion, he goes to the Padres. Cole Irvin, he goes to the freaking the Orioles. The other guy, he went to.
Yeah, but they brought in plenty of pitchers. They brought in Ken Waldichuk, who I'm surprised we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
Although from what I've heard, he's having a horrible camp.
Yeah. And these are these will be more names we'll actually end up talking about next Sunday because we have a list of teams and pitchers that we'll probably end up talking about next week. So we have a list of guys that we'll end up talking about, we'll probably talk about Blackburn, maybe, Adrian Martinez next week, the Tigers, Spencer Turnbull, maybe Casey Mays, Greg Moto. So just some guy, Kyle Freeland,
Kyle Freeland is the guilty pleasure.
I am actually
that guy. I've been chasing him being elite again for years.
He's
the king of the road start. He's the prototype of a Colorado pitcher. Sucks at home, ace on the road.
Yeah, I actually had shares of Kyle Freeland, and I was happy and not happy with him at times. But I've
been chasing that profile. Weirdly enough, I never would touch Herman Marquez. But I chased Tyler Chatwood all the way to Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fun when he started walking 5 batters an inning.
But yeah, so we're pretty much talking about bad pitchers on bad teams. You're
going to be talking about Matt Boyd pretty soon if you're going to be talking about the Tigers. Because apparently he's back.
Yeah, I kind of made a list a little bit.
I don't know if Govier has responded yet, but I asked him, is this time around are the Tigers finally going to trade him away and get something for him now that he's finally good again?
Good gravy. Let's see here. I think, do we have time to talk about one more person at all? I know.
You're the master of ceremonies.
Yeah, I know. I mean, maybe if Chad didn't take his time with his roster selection over there, we would have gotten a little farther today, but no, it's all good. No, we, talking about, just recapping everything, that's more than more important than anything. Cause especially with people wanting to a 20-man league, these guys are nuts. Why are they even doing this? Cause I'd rather get some pleasure out of, learning deep, in my eyes, learning more roster, learning more players especially when it gets into a deeper league like this, because then it makes you want to, kind of grind a little bit more. You're like, okay, who else is out there that you could possibly find that was a gem? And I mentioned to you, there was I can't remember his name offhand. There was a guy that I had from the Pirates. I ended up kind of getting hot, and I picked him up off the waiver wire, and I kind of held him. And I can't remember the life of me of his name because I've been trying to find his name, and he ended up getting hot.
Last
He
year?
had some.
Wasn't it Francisco Alvarez at the end of the year?
It could have been him, but I just don't remember the name. I was trying, I tried finding him, but I'm like, that name doesn't make sense.
It was a Pirates pitcher?
No, batter. That he ended up. I started looking. He ended up starting to get a little hot, and I picked him up, and for streaming purposes, and he had some good RBIs. He had a couple home runs in there, and I think maybe 1 or 2 base steals. So I mean, his projection wise was pretty good there at the end, and I probably ended up dropping him. But yeah, I just couldn't remember who it was, so which kind of sucks. But I mean, that's why doing a lot of these deeper leagues, you find people that end up.
The only person I could think of that qualifies would be Jack Sawinski.
I don't think that name sounds familiar. I think he was a little bit younger kid too, though.
I want to say Sawinski's young. I don't know that much about him. The other one would be Michael Chavis, but he wasn't good.
Yeah, this kid was actually, he was actually playing pretty decent. He was getting some batting time.
What position?
I was trying to dig. That's why I was trying to find out who it was. I'm like, some of the names that didn't come offhand. I know it wasn't Cruz. I don't know if he was an outfielder or an infielder. But yeah, I was gonna try to find that name again, and
you're not giving us much to work with, Jaymie.
I know. I'll try to find him. I'll try to find him, and I'll be like, well, this was the guy I was. I actually,
sure, Pirate because
he was a Pirate.
Leover Peguero,
maybe.
But he only played like 4. Yeah, he only played one game. So
this one he played a little bit more than that. I know that for sure, but. Yeah, I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you guys.
Was it Asian name?
No, he was a colored fellow. I know that.
Yeah, I can't think of.
Yeah, it could have been somebody that maybe got pulled up from AAA maybe. I don't know. Other than that,
there's no one that fits at this.
Yeah, I'll try to find them
on their rosters. Probably.
Maybe they traded him off. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
The only other name I'm looking at every player they have, and it's either the guys I've already mentioned or they hit like 200.
Yeah, I'll try to find them. It's been a while.
Marcano was one that was good for a little bit.
It could have been him.
It might be the. Miguel Andujar.
I think that might have been the fella.
Because he went over there and he wasn't great, but he had a high average for a while.
Yeah,
that was very brief over there.
Yeah, it might have been him possibly.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Let's. Do you want to do the? You want to do either the Brandon Marsh, Garrett Mitchell comp, or Trent Grisham, or Gavin Sheets, or we got the Cole Irvin for our last kind of segment. Quick.
Can we just never talk about Trent Grisham?
Well, I guess you know what? I guess that's going to end our show with. We're going to be talking about Trent Grisham then.
Wow.
Yep. So I was kind of is he a top 300 guy or in the ADP? Is he draftable at 300? Since we're kind of at the end here of the show, it's just like,
yes. Should you know? Will you? Probably.
Yeah, right. Okay, end the show. Roll tape. Man, he was
Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, Junior. He was so much better when he was Trent Clark. But
I think he's, with the guys that we were all, Brandon Marsh, Garrett Mitchell, Gavin Sheets, he kind of I mean, if you think about it, all these guys are almost all comparable. I mean, these guys are kind of, with their little bit of.
Gavin Sheets shouldn't even. That was the other one. The Gavin Sheets shouldn't even be mentioned. He's not even going to make the team. It doesn't look like.
Yeah,
if he's not going to make
the thing we know is Trent Grisham will play. Maybe not well. I don't think those projections. I don't think those are going to work out. He's a habitual underperformer, disappointer.
Is that a 10 or an 18? I can't tell. For the home runs.
18.
18. It's never.
That probably
never going to happen. He won't have enough playing time. He will not have 539 at bats unless catastrophic injuries occur. So
yeah.
And that's considering the person getting injured today, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
I know. I've had chairs of Trent Grisham.
That's his competition in the outfield.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's never had over 462, at bats. So I mean,
if you need,
I mean, he's going to have north of 250.
Yeah. He might have. Yeah, he might have.
He might have 400.
He might get 400. He'll probably have 400. But
I actually came up with a better comp, and looking at those stats, it's actually it's genius. 35-year-old Andrew McCutchen in a not 35-year-old body.
Yeah, only McCutchen's going to give you a better batting average.
Yeah, there we go. And that seems reasonable because McCutchen was with he went back to Pirates, so maybe it's
I'm buying. I'm not in this league. I would have bought that we're in. I would have bought him. I can't buy him in major leagues, but I'm buying a McCutchen bounce back.
Yeah, he's gonna.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, they'll need all the batters they can.
It's clearly a great ballpark for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there for however long, and 1 year with the Brewers and back to Pittsburgh now. I mean, they need all the batters they can get.
It was the Giants, it was Giants, the Phillies. Is that where he ended last year? I can't remember. Did he go with the Brewers? I didn't remember.
Yeah, he was with the Brewers. Yeah, he was with the Brewers last year.
Yeah, he had stints in San Francisco and Philly that just didn't work.
No.
But
Grisham.
It's not surprising. You look at those ballparks, and either of those are great ballparks for a guy like McCutchen. So
yeah. But I don't know. It's just one of those things.
But using that comp, Petco is definitely not a ballpark for a guy like Grisham.
Yeah,
or anyone to hit in for that matter.
I know. I had a few shares of Grisham off and on, and it's one of those guys that he can maybe be a little bit of a streamer for you in an aspect if you need
absolutely.
In a few categories.
He's a waiver watch list guy.
Yeah.
In Dynasty, he's probably a must roster though.
I know.
Right. You ride him hot and put him away wet, right? Is that what they say?
Right? Yeah, because I was, God dang, I was, with the shares that I had of him, there was one guy I don't know why, I was kind of feeding for him a little bit, and it was one of those things. It's like somebody dropped him, I ended up picking him up, but I kind of held him for a little while through his struggles. He got me some good categories here and there, and then I'd say I got to a point where I was like, yep, I'm finally done with this guy. He's not doing me any well. But I mean, maybe he's a good weekend guy for you. It's somebody that you can just pick up on the weekend, get you those few categories you need, and then just get rid of him.
And he's the perfect kind of guy to play. How many games do they have this week towards the end of the season?
Yeah.
When that's the most important factor of playing a guy.
Yeah. But I know it was just one of those things that kind of put up his, is Grisham worth, is he worth having in a 20-man league, or is he going to be on the waiver wire? I think he got drafted. I'm not sure. I didn't look.
He's got to be roster.
He should have, yeah. Yeah, yeah. He should have gotten drafted, but he won't be on my team. I've been burned too many times.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have any shares of him myself either, because I'm like, yeah, I've had my fair shares of dealing with his, bounciness, and I'm not gonna deal with that. I'd rather have some people that are gonna be batting well. They're gonna be up closer to the, top 5 in the batting roster. And I mean, there's a few guys I'm sure there's a few guys at the later bottom of the list that there are, like Luis Renfrego. He's at the bottom. I mean, I'm a fan of him. I got him in our 20 man. I was pretty happy about that. I think we tried to compare him to somebody else too. I can't remember offhand. I know Luis. I can't think of the guy from
Rengifo.
Yes, Rengifo. Yes.
I'm not the guy to comp him.
Yeah.
I think not. I hate to say this as someone who does this for a living. I think literal nothing when I think about him, because I don't think about him. He's not bad. He's inoffensive. Like, I don't think he's bad or anything.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys like Wilmer Flores who are just kind of there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the comp then, considering the positions they play.
Wilmer Flores is going to get you more home runs, so.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Rengifo had the playing time over him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's the ninth batter. He's a guy. But
yeah, it's crazy, man.
You're in trouble if he's your starting second baseman.
No, I think he's in my utility spot, I think.
At second base, though, his profile maybe what, a 10-10 guy?
Last year he had 129 RBI or 129 hits.
Only care about the home run, stolen bases. That's all that matters.
Yeah, he had 17 home runs and he had six. Yeah,
he could be a 50. He could be a 50. He could be I'd buy into him with the shift change.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe he can get
10 at second base, and he's like a 270, 280 hitter on average.
Yeah, his OPS is 723.
That's like a Jeff McNeil sacrificing a little average for power,
Yeah. So I'm hoping. I'm hoping maybe he can kind of get.
He's probably top 18 at the position.
Yeah. So I'm hoping maybe he can get at least 10, 11, base steals at least. So maybe he can comp his 17 home runs he had last year. Maybe he can do the same. Maybe so. I don't know.
Maybe the offense around him could be healthy and he'll get some runs too.
Yeah.
People actually knock him in.
If he gets on, gets through that top.
Trout, Shohei, and Rendon are at the top of the order behind him.
He could have some value. He only had 45 runs last year, but that team was a mess.
Rendon was out by week 1?
Yeah.
For the season.
He'll be out by week 2 this year. So
hey,
if he makes it there.
Hey, now don't be.
He had a home run. He probably hurt himself trying.
Yes. Oh, I know the one thing I forgot to mention quick before we, but yeah, before we get up out of here, make sure you join the Discord. I know the baseball side is a little laggy, but it'll get there. I mean, I'm more of a football guy, but I'm kind of jumping into this baseball thing a little bit, and I'm trying something different this year, and yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't mind baseball at all. It's kind of, I don't know.
We'll drag you through it.
Yeah, there you go. You can drag me by my feet. I might learn something, knock my head on a couple of rocks.
See what sticks.
Yes, but make sure you actually, we are actually on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and we are also on Spotify as well. And before we got all excited, I forgot to put our Discord link in the chat, which kind of sucks. But yeah, we got all excited about talking 20 man and whatnot. I forgot to say a few things, so that's kind of my own fault. But yeah. It's all good.
You don't have Eli here to do it for you.
Right? Well, I mean, with you jumping in, Chad, was a little bit different show. usually I kind of say that stuff off the hand right away with Donovan and I, and you're like, "Hey, how come I'm not here?" So it's got a little, got a little sidetracked offhand.
Gotta
So.
put you on your toes once in a while.
Right? You can quiz me on my baseball stuff. I mean, it's, honestly, it's, I give a lot to the Plazo side of baseball. I've learned quite a bit over this last year. I'm pretty grateful for that too as well. And Chad, you being a part of that, and Donovan being a part of that.
Thank you for giving me a chance to plug to follow the Palazzo Podcast Twitch account, where you can get exclusive content from me every week.
Are you actually doing stuff every week now?
Yeah, he's got, what is it called? Chad Talks? Is that what your channel is there?
No, it was
Chad.
It's just it's just a Twitch exclusive.
Oh, your Twitch. Yeah. Yep. And I apologize. I tried to get on that the other day, and we were out sledding, and I just didn't have a great connection. But
I kind of imagine, mind you, by the way, when you told me that, as you're there with kids, and you just got the phone or the tablet in your hand as you're going down the hill, just trying to connect, trying to type.
I had
the snowbank.
I had the earbuds in. I was throwing the kids down the hill, so I had time in between. And I just could. For whatever reason, at the park there, it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't stay connected. I was buffering the whole time. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, no problem. It was a terrible show.
Hey.
I actually owe Jaymie a debt of gratitude. The football show today has really got me back.
Hey, that's good though. Yeah, I mean that's good though. I mean, I appreciate you jumping on with us and conversating with us, because I mean it's always a pleasure talking baseball or football, whichever it might be. I mean, it's always nice to have another mind in the bubble, because everybody's got their different opinions when it comes to players or roster selections and all that great stuff. So I mean it's all different. That's for sure. But
yes.
Yeah, I apologize today. I've been a little all over the place with between the drafts. I've also been watching the chaos unfold on social media today. I don't know if you folks have been with the banks that are imploding on themselves.
Nope.
Yeah, things are
the billions of dollars that are just gone,
disappearing off the face of the earth. Yeah.
The government's apparently going to bail out the people, but not the banks this time, which is interesting. But the fun one for me was Coinbase apparently had all their money tied up in both those banks. So all those crypto guys are just screwed right now.
Ooh. Oh, boy.
And I love it. As someone who's very anti-crypto, I love
it. I never got into that business, so we're good. But
too many fake millionaires out there.
Yep. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do another 20-man recap when it comes to my actual invitational, which is next week.
Next Saturday.
Yes. No. So another 20-man coming around the corner. So yeah, we can jump in and talk about that if you're up for it, Chad.
We'll run it back in a couple weeks. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I think so. We can actually give each other crap on which of our teams actually look a little bit different from the ones we did draft here, or what did we take away from, what did we learn from this draft or that draft, So I mean, I'm pretty sure my team will be looking a lot different because we're actually, I know the three of us will probably be trying to grab some of the guys that we probably already drafted, I'm sure, or
I'll be trying not to auto draft Logan Gilbert.
Right. So it's I know there is going to be some. Well, yeah.
By the way, before I forget, you have to have me on the show with Eli this week.
All right,
we have so much. We have so much to talk about with that trade that went down.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So let me know. I'll get you hooked up with.
Dude, we're gonna do like 2 hours just on that Bears trade.
Oh, let's not talk about that. Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be interesting for sure. I'm pretty sure that'll be something we will be talking about quite heavily, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'll be talking about that quite a bit too this upcoming Tuesday. So yeah, if you guys like football, make sure you join us on Tuesday with me and Eli, and Chad will be a guest show be a guest appearance again next week. So yeah, I actually haven't talked to Eli of what we are gonna cover, but well, we were gonna cover.
I just answered it.
Yeah, the good majority of that, but yeah,
and then Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
You might have a Aaron Rodgers decision by then.
Yes, I heard.
No! Oh God, we'll be there forever if that.
Well, I heard the trade was done, but he hasn't made up his mind yet. So
yeah, who knows? Yeah, real quick before you jump out,
he supposedly said, "Sorry to interrupt you." I believe he was on a podcast today, and he said it'll be done soon.
Yeah, well, then it might be done.
Effect.
Yeah,
watch it be his retirement done soon.
Probably.
I just I pulled up the numbers, and as a lifelong Packers fan, spoiled rotten quarterback monglers we had Favre started 16 seasons, before he was pushed out the door, went to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers would have started 16 seasons before he presumably is going to go to the Jets. I thought, boy, wouldn't it be funny if he goes to the Jets for 1 year and then ends up on the Vikings like Favre did.
Funny you mentioned that because there's talk of Kirk Cousins being gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's nothing special there. They don't need Kirk Cousins to be there, and they're just the type of team that would do something like that. So, hey, who knows?
So you're telling me though, Donovan?
Yeah, what are you saying, huh?
I should drop $100 with some degenerate gambler at like 1,001 odds that in 15 years Jordan Love will be playing for the Jets.
Jordan Love will be he's got to start 16 seasons. So don't get it.
Well, no, because it's going to go down by 1. Favre was 16, Rodgers was 15, right?
No, I think Rodgers was 16.
Was it 16 as well?
He spent two on the bench.
Is that going to be the new trend of all the Packers going to the Jets, then the Vikings?
Then the Vikings. So now the thing that's going to screw this up is that Aaron Rodgers will figure this out on his own and won't go to the Vikings because he doesn't want to be like Brett Favre, because that's the kind of guy he is. So.
Maybe he'll get.
The best part about it is there is nobody, from what we've learned of Rodgers. Not to beat up on your fandom there. What we've learned of Rodgers as a person is he's very much like Brett Favre.
Oh yeah, that's why they couldn't work together. They're the same person.
Maybe
they're both.
We haven't seen any
who love themselves.
Maybe they'll. Maybe he'll bring the Vikings a championship finally if he does.
Now all we need is it's perfect with him. With Rodgers being buddies with McAfee, we already had Brett Favre's drama with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
So Rodgers will have it with Pat McAfee.
Yep.
Who's wrestling now.
Crazy. All right, guys. I think this kind of covers our show. Thank you, Chad, for jumping on with us. It's always a pleasure with you getting your insight and everything, and it's always fun. That's for damn sure. So. Until
make sure to follow all of us. Follow Donovan at Spitting Seeds PB. Follow the Palazzo Podcast on Twitch. Follow Out of Rhythm on Twitch and YouTube.
And also follow them actually. Yeah, I think that.
And you could find all of our channels everywhere when you get into those places. Just ask, and one of us will push you in the right direction.
Yes, most definitely. And I gotta get better at that too, because I always jump into like and then it's like, oh shit, I gotta tell everybody about everything else, So that's one thing I'm
gotta make sure you plug your guests, Jaymie. That's the thing you gotta learn about.
Yeah, I did. I think I did. I did that on Tuesday though. I told them a little bit about you. So come on, I know I gotta get better at that. That's my downfall right there. So
it's nothing. It takes practice, but it's good practice. Because when you do it and people see that you do it, you can get bigger guests more and more because they're getting exposure.
Oh, most definitely. And I'm always gratitude to the Plaza side, because Govi's actually put us out there too. So any chance I can give a return back to him, I will gratefully do that. So all right, guys, we're up out of here. Have a good one. Have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, whatever it is. Go watch some baseball, and we are up out of here. See you guys.
Later.